NBC4, your Olympic home for the next decade.
Good morning. Chaos in Chicago. An overloaded porch on the third floor of an apartment building buckled during a party early this morning, sending people and debris crashing to the ground. At least 12 are dead. At least 45 others are injured. Today, Sunday, June 29th, 2003.
From NBC News, this is Today with Soledad O'Brien, live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Welcome to Today. I'm Soledad O'Brien.
And I'm Lester Holt. Apparently no warning for the folks on that porch. As many as 40 to 50 may have been on it when it went down, far more than the building's decks are designed to hold.
Additionally, some of the victims were trapped under the debris from the accident. Emergency workers had to use chainsaws to get them free. Coming up this morning, we're going to take you live to the scene and get the very latest on that collapse. Then the mystery of what happened to a missing basketball player from Baylor University. 21-year-old Patrick Dennehy, a center for Baylor's team, was last heard from more than 2 weeks ago. Police now fear he may have been murdered, and they're questioning some of his teammates in his disappearance. We're going to get the very latest on that investigation in just a few minutes. And
Soledad, a recent U.S. Supreme Court decision is causing chaos in California. The court overturned a state law that allowed some molestation cases to be tried retroactively. Now some 800 cases statewide are being affected. Trials interrupted. Some people convicted of who have confessed to crimes even being released from jail. Coming up, we're going to get reaction from California's Attorney General. Before we get to any of that, however, let's first go to the deadly porch collapse in Chicago. NBC's Kevin Tibbles is there this morning with the very latest on that. Kevin, good morning.
Good morning to you, Soledad. Well, at about 12:30 this morning on a hot Chicago night, police say that some 50 people had managed to cram their way onto the third-floor balcony in this building behind me here when the whole thing gave way and essentially took out everything and everyone who was beneath it. Chicago fire officials are saying it was simply a matter of too many people crammed into a small space. A late-night party on a third-floor outdoor porch in the Wrigleyville area of Chicago ended in tragedy when the weight of the crowd caused the porch to collapse. It fell all the way to the ground, knocking the second-floor porch to the ground with it. Dozens of people were either hurtled to the ground or crushed in the collapse. Those who survived scrambled frantically to rescue as many as they could from the rubble. Police and fire authorities described the scene as absolute chaos. Along with the dead, 35 others were rushed to area hospitals. 11 of them are said to be in critical condition. Many of the victims were in their early 20s and had attended high school together. And Soledad, many of those who were attending this party were students at nearby DePaul University. Apparently, they'd all come over here for one big house party that was taking up several floors. They were all friends. When the whole balconies came down, many of their friends were lost in this tragic accident. Soledad. All right, NBC's Kevin Tibbles in Chicago for us. A terrible story. Kevin, thank you for that. Cortez Trotter is the executive director of Chicago's Office of Emergency Management. Mr. Trotter, good morning, and I thank you for joining us. Let's begin with an update on the number of injured and the extent of their injuries, please.
Yes, Mike.
Well, the number of injured, as we reported earlier, we have confirmed 11 fatalities here at the scene, and another 45 were transported to at least 10 area hospitals with injuries ranging from critical to minor injuries.
I know it's very early in any kind of investigation, but at this point, can you tell me, what do you believe happened? Was it just a matter of too many people on a deck, or was it some sort of structural problem with the deck itself?
Well, the investigation, Soledad, is ongoing, but obviously, as you can see from the destruction behind me, a collapse from the third floor down to the second and first and into the stairway occurred here about 12:30 this morning. Obviously, whatever load was on that third floor was far too much for the structure to withstand.
Did the third floor basically go down and just take out the second floor and the first floor, and were the partiers all the people with the same group, or was it different people on each level?
Well, we haven't been able to determine that. As you can imagine, it was there were quite a few people here at the scene, and an investigation like this and interviewing people and trying to determine exactly what happened, we're only hours into this, but as you can imagine, our early speculation is that the weight from the third floor, as I mentioned, was far too much to for the structure to handle, and it collapsed down to the second and onto the first floor.
There were reports that there were people who were trapped under all 3 floors when they eventually hit the ground, and that chainsaws had to be used to basically free any of the survivors and also to remove some of the bodies. Are those reports correct?
Right. Well, the Chicago Fire Department's rescue teams arrived on the scene and did have to use heavy equipment to get some of the debris off of the victims that were in the stairwell. So there were people involved at every level from what we can determine at this point, people beneath the 3rd floor, beneath the 2nd, and then those that may have been down within the stairwell. So the use of the heavy equipment by the fire department certainly was able to reduce the number of fatalities.
I know that these sorts of porch collapses are really not completely uncommon in any kind of city like Chicago that has flats when people sort of gather outside in the warm weather. Is this the worst that you've seen?
Well, in terms of my entire career that spans nearly 30 years, is this the worst? This type of incident certainly is on par with other incidents that I've had an opportunity or the misfortune, if you will, to be involved in. So it's tragic, it's very unfortunate, and I should mention that the thoughts of the people of the city of Chicago and the departments here in the city are with the victims and the victims' families.
And ours as well. Cortez Trotter, thank you for joining us. I know, as you mentioned, this is just hours old, and you've been working all night, so we truly appreciate your time.
Yeah, well, Soledad, thank you.
And now for a look at the rest of the morning's top stories, let's head over to NBC's Carl Quintanilla, who's at the news desk. Good morning to you, Carl.
Soledad, Lester, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Authorities in Texas this morning are afraid that a Baylor University basketball player may have been killed. Patrick Dennehy has not been heard from in more than 2 weeks. His SUV turned up in Virginia last week with its license plates missing. Police in Waco, Texas have been questioning Dennehy's teammates, among others. We're going to have much more on this story coming up in just a few minutes. FBI agents have reportedly finished searching a Maryland pond without finding additional evidence linking it to the 2001 anthrax attacks. Authorities believe the person responsible for mailing those anthrax-tainted letters may have filled the envelopes with deadly spores under the water. The anthrax attacks killed 5 people and sickened 17 others. In the Middle East, progress in the peace talks has been put on hold. National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice has invited Palestinian Prime Minister Mahmoud Abbas to visit Washington, but a much-anticipated announcement about a 3-month ceasefire from Palestinian militants has been delayed for a day or two due to last-minute wrangling over the language of the agreement. Despite the setback, Israel now says it will begin pulling its forces out of the Gaza Strip tomorrow. 2 U.S. military police soldiers were wounded in Baghdad today when they came under attack on a highway, the latest in a series of hit-and-run strikes on American troops. Both were evacuated to a military hospital. There have been no other details on their condition. And NASA is hoping for better weather tonight when it tries again to launch the latest Mars rover. 2 attempts to launch the rover Opportunity were scrubbed overnight due to the weather. The Opportunity will provide details on whether there was ever enough water to sustain life on Mars. And that is your news this morning. Now back to Soledad and Lester.
All right, Carl, thank you very much, and Janice as well. And this is really special. Today, as we've been talking about, is my last day here, and so they've holed you in. Usually Sunday,
they had to twist my arm.
Sunday is your day off, and I am so grateful. So thank you so much for coming in.
For you,
and what's the weather look like?
Well, let's see what it looks like. We're going to look around the country and give you a check of the weather. Talking about that launch in Florida, it doesn't look like they're going to get a chance to do that today either. The weather is very rainy and windy and cloudy across most of Florida today. More tropical moisture moving up to the Gulf of Mexico and more thunderstorms. In the meantime, there could be some thunderstorms over parts of the eastern Great Lakes and northern New England or southern New England today. Also over the northern Texas Panhandle as well as the Oklahoma Panhandle into Colorado and New Mexico. Look for some strong gusty winds, maybe damaging winds and large hail there. That's what's going on around the nation. Now here's your local forecast.
Good morning. I'm News Channel 4 meteorologist John Marshall. Your forecast for your Sunday, a mixture of sun and clouds. Not as warm, a high temperature of 82. The possibility of an afternoon thunderstorm. The day won't be a washout, though. Tonight, an early thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy, 79. Monday, a little more humid, partly sunny, an isolated thunderstorm. High temperatures between 85 and 90. And taking a look ahead, Tuesday, partly sunny, 86. Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, humid, 86. Thursday, partly to mostly sunny, a high temperature of 88.
A high of 91. And now here's Lester.
Janice, thanks. Now to the search for the missing basketball player from Baylor University. As we reported, 21-year-old Patrick Dennehy hasn't been heard from in 2 weeks. Authorities fear he may have been a victim of foul play. Here's NBC's Jim Cummins.
Patrick Dennehy had played basketball at the University of New Mexico, and then he transferred to Baylor University in Waco, Texas last year. Investigators say the 6'10", 230-pound junior, number 33 in this highlight reel, has been missing from Waco since June 11th, and they suspect he might have been murdered. Baylor basketball coach Dave Bliss says he's stunned by the news about his player.
Right now, the team, the university, and all the members of the Baylor family and myself are in tremendous disbelief about the recent events. In fact, no part of this really seems real.
Police have questioned dozens of people in and around the Baylor campus about Dennehy's disappearance, including some of his teammates.
His disappearance, some of the basketball team members may be involved.
Dennehy's family is from California. Earlier this week, police said they found his SUV in this parking lot in Virginia, but they don't know why it was there. His coach choked back tears as he talked about the telephone call he had to make to Dennehy's mother.
He's been just a gem, and it's just a terrible series of events that's put us in this unsettling situation.
The police say they have no new leads in the disappearance of Patrick Dennehy, and they won't talk about the case until Monday afternoon. For today, Jim Cummins, NBC News, Dallas.
Mark Smith is a staff writer with the Albuquerque Journal. He's followed Patrick Dennehy since his high school years and through his early college years as a player at the University of New Mexico. Mark, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
No problem, Lester. Thanks for having me.
By all reports, he's an outstanding player. What can you tell us about his relationship with his teammates? How does he get along with the team?
Well, we don't know a lot about how his relationship was at Baylor because he's been gone from here for the past year, but it was pretty stormy when it was at the University of New Mexico. He played here his freshman and sophomore years. There were some problems in his sophomore year where he had some arguments with a couple of the guys, but nothing that you would think anything like this could develop. There was a big incident towards the end of his sophomore year where the Lobos were playing against Air Force, which was the bottom-ranked team in the conference, and Air Force was winning the game, and Dennehy got into a verbal confrontation with one of his teammates. Another one got in between them. They started bumping chests. They went to the bench together. There was a timeout at the time, and then Dennehy started arguing again, threw a chair, pushed a teammate, and then took off and ran into the locker room with 3 minutes left in the game, never to be seen again.
And I understand he's never been shy about speaking his mind and sometimes getting in trouble or at least irritating those around him.
Well, you know, the thing that I liked so much about Pat, and he was a great kid to deal with as far as the media was concerned because he was real open about everything. But his candor sometimes got him in trouble with the coaching staff. There was an incident during his freshman year where he wasn't playing very much, and he simply said if it didn't stop and he started playing, if he didn't start playing more, he was going to leave at the end of the year. So the coaching staff got really angry with that. And sometimes he was just a real matter-of-fact guy, but a real good kid to deal with. Never any problems for us. We never saw the signs of the hostility off the court. There were just some things on the court.
And we understand that both Dennehy and his father admitted that Dennehy had been on antidepressants at some point. What do you know about that?
Well, after the incident at the Air Force Academy, everyone was wondering what kind of action might be taken against him because something like that, you know a kid has to be suspended for it. They waited a couple of days. The former coach, Fran Fraschilla, then said that they were not going to suspend him because he suffered from a, quote, confidential medical condition. Well, Patrick was not allowed to speak about the condition after the season, and Fraschilla had resigned under pressure. Dennehy's father said there was no medical condition, that he was on antidepressants, but they made him very lethargic, and so he stopped taking them. Dennehy then said after the season, after the coach had left, that it was just a fabrication, that he was told that they were going to make him make up this excuse so he could stay in the lineup. Because he was such a good player, he was their only effective big man.
Okay, well, Mark Smith, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us this morning.
Okay, Lester.
Up next, why hundreds of convicted child molesters could be set free in California. We'll be right back.
You all the help you need to turn your house into a home.
Coldwell banker.com.
Log on.
You are 2 years old, and you're surprised that you can pull open those pull-ups like a diaper. You want Pampers Easy Ups. They're like real underwear. Easy Ups, inspired by toddlers, created by Pampers.
Maybe having your carpet cleaned once a year isn't enough. 1-800-STEAMER. Living brings it in. We take it out.
Now to the U.S. Supreme Court decision that has prosecutors, defense attorneys, and the state's attorney general's office in California scrambling. Last week, the court invalidated a California law that allowed decades-old child molestation cases to be prosecuted, a ruling that's now affecting some 800 cases statewide, causing some to be dropped and allowing some people who've confessed or been convicted of crimes to walk free from prison. Bill Lockyer is California's Attorney General. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's give a little history to start. In 1994, California passed what was at that time considered a landmark law where they could allow the state to try people who were suspected of child molestation years after the abuse. And the theory was that children often will wait years, maybe even decades before they come forward. So what was behind the Supreme Court's decision to overturn this law?
Well, you mentioned the theory right. It often takes decades for someone to come forward. In this particular case, Mr. Stogner was accused of raping his 2 daughters for more than a decade. He was prosecuted even though the 6-year limitation that we had in California had expired. The law had been changed to take that limitation away if the evidence was very, very strong and corroborative. Then it went through the courts all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. California Supreme Court affirmed it and said it was a valid law by a 5-4 vote. U.S. Supreme Court said it violates that provision of the U.S. Constitution that prohibits ex post facto laws, that is, laws written after the fact, that is, punishing retroactively.
So let me, outside of the legalese, this meant it was basically unconstitutional to try people for a crime that was committed in the past under a law that was recently written, was the basic argument. So you're saying it wasn't the evidence that was a problem. There was no problem with the evidence. It was really essentially timing. That's correct.
And of course, our argument was that the crime was still the same. The elements of the crime had not changed in any way whatsoever. It was simply stretching the time limit by which you could still prosecute for those crimes, given the fact that victims so often are reluctant to come forward within, at the time, 6 years.
We have mentioned that some 800 cases are now affected. Give me a sense, effectively, of how many of these people you expect to release from prison where they've been convicted or from jail where they're awaiting their trial.
Well, we don't know yet for sure because there's not a record kept electronically that's keyed off this particular segment of the California law. You have to look at the underlying offenses for sex crimes. There are about 13,000 people in California prison right now, half of whom are there for child molestation. 13,000 for a sex crime.
Is it fair to say, and forgive me for interrupting you, but is it fair to say that there were cases where someone confessed and said, yes, I molested that child, they will walk free?
Absolutely.
What have you told the victims, and in some cases alleged victims for the cases that haven't gone to trial yet, about what's happened now?
Well, we've had to explain, and mostly it's local district attorneys that have had the burden of calling victims and explaining what this court case means to their particular case. Of course, they're feeling like they're being violated again for a second or third time after the original events, after this trial, and now this decision. It's very, very difficult. People are moving because they're afraid that someone's going to be released that might want to harm them, and all kinds of general trauma.
Bill Lockyer is California's Attorney General. I thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Soledad.
And we'll be right back.
What do you see when you look at people? At AmeriQuest Mortgage, we see more than an easy label and a credit score. We see homeowners with hope, families with commitment and endurance, people with the courage to keep dreaming. At AmeriQuest, we see you. You've achieved so much. What's next? AmeriQuest, the company that knows you are more.
Tired of conditioners weighing your hair down? Try Pantene Pro V.
I believe in miracles.
The Pantene formula suspends moisture and provitamins, so hair is light and healthy, not weighed down. Pantene Weightless Conditioning. That's the beauty of health.
Isn't it time someone gave the classic Caesar salad a good kick? With spicy pieces of grilled chicken filet, seasoned corn and black beans, and a Southwest Caesar dressing. Introducing Wendy's new Southwest Chicken Caesar. It's the kick Caesar's been missing.
Today, a look back at Week 1 of Wimbledon, featuring Americans Venus Williams and Andy Roddick. Wimbledon, today, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, NBC.
From power to refinement, it's the best Accord yet. Auto Week magazine.
It just doesn't get any better than this. Car and Driver.
Inside this handsome new structure is a cabin that caters to the driver, Motor Trend.
We've always received our fair share of accolades. The key is never being satisfied with them.
Now you can lease a 2003 Accord LX sedan for $239 a month for 36 months.
If I had a wish, I'd wish for a loving home full of sunshine and flowers, with a room full of books and stars.
I'd wish for a family to adopt me.
Most kids spend their lives playing, laughing, dreaming.
But too many children spend theirs in foster care. If I had a wish, I'd wish for a tree with a swing, someone to play with. That's what Wednesday's Child is all about.
Making dreams come true. Every Wednesday and Sunday on News Channel 4.
A partnership between the Freddie Mac Foundation, ACS, and NBC4.
Still to come this morning on Today, the controversial therapy that brought about an amazing transformation in an 11-year-old adopted boy.
And it's so hard to say goodbye. We'll look back at Soledad's 4 years here on Weekend Today after these messages. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
After these messages in your local news.
If you're thinking about a chemical peel, laser treatment, or Botox, and even if you're not, we think you should know about this less drastic approach. New Olay Regenerist. Not just skin care, cell care. Now, Olay uses an aminopeptide complex to beautifully regenerate skin's appearance, one cell at a time. Give your face a lift with new Olay Regenerist and love the skin you're in.
I was born without a shopping gene. You don't hear the laughing, but it's there.
We can stop the suffering.
When Jerry showed me Big Lots closeout shopping, it's like I was opening my eyes for the very first time. Finding that $129 even flow stroller for $79, it was a breakthrough. I said, hello, Bliss. I'm Susan. I was going around the rest of the day saying, hello, I'm a born shopper.
Big Lots. Brand names, closeout prices, happy people.
Who's laughing now?
The couple you chose for today's wedding is Seneca and Chris. Now start planning. Log on and vote for your favorite rings by Tuesday at noon. Presented by Club Wed at Target.
Monday on NBC Nightly News, Stress and Aging. An eye-opening new medical report reveals how stress can make you old before your time. NBC Nightly News, Monday.
Ladies, want to make over your man? Bravo presents a new reality show. 5 gay experts make over your straight guy. Email a photo to info@thequeereye.com and explain why your man needs our help. And watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy coming July only on Bravo.
Okay, your free checking account's all set up.
Great. Hey, what are you...
Oh, that's just Bob.
Morning.
He'll be assessing your check card fees for you.
Isn't this a free checking account?
Oh, technically, yes. Hi.
Miss Blackburn's deducting your monthly account.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, what now?
Oh, I don't know. He doesn't work here.
Uncomfortable with your bank's idea of free checking? Come to Washington Mutual and get more human interest.
I'm Darlene Rodriguez.
I'm Maurice Dubois. Monday morning on Today in New York, reading body language, the eyes, hands, arms, even stance. What are people really saying? We'll help you read between the lines.
Plus, fire up the grill. We look at some new models in charcoal and gas, Monday from 5 to 7.
This is Spin. This is Spin on Hardball. Hardball with Chris Matthews. Weeknights only on MSNBC.
So we've been arguing.
Debating.
About SUVs, when to buy.
If we should buy an SUV at all. Maybe the Toyota RAV4, because it actually is easy on gas. I like that.
Or the 4Runner. It costs less to drive than what we spend on lunch every day, and the financing's great.
The best value, our best deals. 0% APR on RAV4 and $1,500 cash back on 4Runner. Your best time to save is today.
We bought them both. We bought them both.
This portion of the news is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Get the feeling, Toyota. You're watching NBC for New York. This is News Channel 4, Weekend Today in New York.
And good morning. Happy Sunday to you. It's a Sunday today in New York. There you have the Belt Parkway, shaping up to be a nice day. I'm Darlene Rodriguez. In the news today, a large explosion and fire has injured at least 22 people on Long Island this morning. Christopher King is on the scene with the latest. Christopher.
Good morning, Darlene. Everything appears to be under control. As you can see behind me, there are still some firefighters here on scene, but things appear to be clearing up a bit. Now, this video you see here shows firefighters trying to put out the flames. The Red Cross tells us some propane tanks exploded at a laundromat on Long Beach Road near Franklin Avenue in Oceanside. Dozens of people had to be evacuated from their homes because of the danger from the propane tanks. The Red Cross says at least 22 firefighters have been injured, although we're told none of their injuries appear to be life-threatening. We are live in Oceanside. Christopher King, Weekend Today in New York.
Thank you, Chris. Brooklyn homicide detectives are working on a murder mystery. A woman who was 9 months pregnant found shot to death in her own bed. It happened early yesterday morning at this house on East 48th Street in the Flatland section. 28-year-old Lamethea McCollum shared the basement apartment with her mother and 9-year-old daughter. A shell casing was found near Lamethea's bed, but no weapon was found. And a deadly car crash in New Jersey claims the lives of 4 generations of one family. Adeline Troya was driving her mother, her daughter, and her granddaughter westbound on Route 80 yesterday morning when their car struck another car. The collision spun Troya's car into the eastbound lane where a pickup truck cut the family's vehicle in two and caused it to burst into flames. Passengers in the other car and the truck suffered minor injuries. And police in Brooklyn are searching for a 10-year-old boy who has been missing from Crown Heights since Thursday. The boy, Mario Oyola, is 4 feet 5 inches tall and weighs around 60 pounds. Police want anyone with information to call 1-800-577-TIPS. Take a quick look at your weekend weather. Today it will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, but just a chance, John says. Highs in the low 80s. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, lows in the upper 60s. And Monday, partly sunny with highs in the 80s. Tuesday, also partly sunny. And Wednesday, mostly sunny. And Thursday as well. So stay tuned for more of Weekend Today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
I'd like to start getting home delivery of the New York Times.
Now you can get the New York Times delivered to your home for 50% off the regular price for 8 full weeks.
The New York Times brings the world into our house every day. It's not just that they cover the news so well. It's the way they surround a story, giving me so many different ways to understand what's going on.
Call 1-800-357-4812 today to start getting the New York Times delivered to your home. You'll receive the Times every single day for just $4.65 a week.
I need to understand what's affecting our investments.
And what's happening on the web.
Or if you prefer, subscribe to the Times on weekends for just $2.40 a week. That's 50% off the regular price of home delivery.
The world's moving pretty fast out there.
This definitely helps.
Get the New York Times delivered every day for just $4.65 a week. Or Saturday and Sunday for just $2.40 a week. That's 50% off. Call today.
Welcome to WNBC.com. WNBC.com. On air, online, one world.
Welcome back to Today on this Sunday morning. It's June 29th, 2003. It is the last weekend in the month of June. Just around the corner. Can you believe that? And I'll hope that the weather that we've been having here, will stick around for that holiday.
A few minutes ago.
But in general, it's been nicer than it was a couple weeks ago.
All right.
So, you know, maybe we'll have a nice 4th of July as we look ahead anyway. We've got a nice crowd outside joining us this morning and having a nice time out on the plaza. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Soledad O'Brien, along with Lester Holt of MSNBC. Coming up in this half hour, we're going to take a look at a controversial therapy that is credited with making an amazing change in an 11-year-old boy who was adopted from Romania. In just a couple of months, he has gone through a change that many people are describing as incredible. We're going to see how Dane went from being abusive and distant to being a loving little boy. Dateline NBC's Hoda Kotb is going to have that story for us.
Then, on a lighter note, we're going to talk gardening, but not the big, expansive gardens, but little flower pots.
We live in the city.
Yeah, we live in the city. So, you know, your window boxes or your terrace, talk about how you can grow things in all kinds of various containers, even herbs and that sort of thing. And then actually we're even going to put them on a pizza. So there'll be quite a segment coming up. Also, I'm supposed to say, Soledad, a day we're all sad to see. It's your last day here.
It is. This is my last weekend on Weekend Today after 4 years.
Are we bummed or what? A little later on, though, you're going to love this. We're going to take a look at some of the memorable moments of Soledad here on Weekend Today.
Will I have my big afro wig for the one?
I didn't see that in the clip. It might be.
Oh, my goodness. I'm sure they won't forget that. Anyway, before we get to any of that, let's first head over to Janice Huff, who is across the plaza with another look at this morning's forecast. Hey, Janice.
Hey, Soledad. I sure hope that the afro wig clip is in there. Because that means I'm in there with the afro wig clip. Anyway, we're really sad to see Soledad go. You guys are sad to see her go, too. Yeah. These are some folks visiting from New Orleans, Soledad. This is the St. Louis Boys Choir, St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans. Hi, you guys. They're singing at Carnegie Hall. And I guess you're really excited about that, right? Yes. You should be. You should be. Let's check on the weather this morning, see what's happening. We had a shower earlier right here on the plaza, but it's gone now. We like that. The sun is out, and the temperatures are in the 80s today here in New York City. Otherwise, more thunderstorms expected along the Gulf Coast and portions of the southeast and into Florida. Severe weather over the eastern Great Lakes as well as the southern plains, the Texas Panhandle into Colorado today. Look at all that heat in Phoenix, 112 this afternoon. Meanwhile, San Francisco, you'll see a nice day with a high of 72 degrees. That's what's going on around the nation. Now, here's your local forecast.
Good morning. I'm News Channel 4 meteorologist John Marshall. Your forecast for your Sunday, a mixture of sun and clouds. Not as warm, a high temperature of 82, the possibility of an afternoon thunderstorm. The day won't be a washout, though. Tonight, an early thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy, 79. Monday, a little more humid, partly sunny, an isolated thunderstorm. High temperatures between 85 and 90. And taking a look ahead, Tuesday, partly sunny, 86. Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, humid, 86. Thursday, partly to mostly sunny, a high temperature of 88.
And now here's Soledad.
All right, Janice, thank you. Still to come this morning, we're going to give you the dirt on how to create your own family herb garden. That's right after this.
Night. It's when most of the world sleeps. A time to reset our clock so we can begin a new day. It's all part of the rhythm of life. But for many, this healthy cycle is disrupted because sleep doesn't always come easy. Fortunately, there's Ambien. Ambien is a prescription sleep aid that can help you get a full night's sleep. While natural sleep is best, Ambien helps you fall asleep fast, stay asleep longer, and wake rested and refreshed, not groggy the next morning. No wonder Ambien is the #1 prescribed sleep aid in America. Until you know how Ambien will affect you, you shouldn't drive or operate machinery. Side effects may include drowsiness, dizziness, and diarrhea. You shouldn't take it with alcohol. Patients who abuse prescription sleep aids may become dependent. Prescription sleep aids are most often taken for 7 to 10 days as needed. Your doctor will advise you about taking them longer. Take Ambien only when you can devote a full 7 to 8 hours to sleep and wake rested and ready to start your day. Talk to your doctor about Ambien. Ambien works like a dream.
Isn't it time someone gave the classic Caesar salad a good kick? With spicy pieces of grilled chicken filet, seasoned corn and black beans, and a Southwest Caesar dressing. Introducing Wendy's new Southwest Chicken Caesar. It's the kick Caesar's been missing.
Tired of conditioners weighing your hair down? Try Pantene Pro V. The Pantene formula suspends moisture and provitamins, so hair is light and healthy, not weighed down. Pantene Weightless Conditioning. That's the beauty of health.
I'm supposed to make this madhouse run right, and I do. That's why I picked Brown to handle my overnight stuff. They give me options: afternoon, mid-morning, or cock-a-doodle-doo. All guaranteed. And when I call for a late pickup, they're here. Brown knows. You never keep a busy lady waiting.
Overnight shipping. Synchronized. UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Who has time for skincare that doesn't work? Not me. So I only use what I know will make my skin firmer and younger looking.
Since 1957, Rock's been devoted to anti-aging skincare. Our promise? Visible results. Take Rock Proteant Lift Moisturizer. Proteant, a proven firming nutrient, penetrates to visibly lift and firm. Only Rock has it.
My skin felt firmer and looked younger in just 8 weeks.
Rock, we keep our promises.
You bet they do.
Now to the dramatic turnaround of an 11-year-old boy who was adopted from Romania. Tonight on Dateline NBC, you're going to see how a very controversial method of therapy completely changed his behavior from violent, even abusive, to calm and affectionate. Dateline NBC's Hoda Kotb joins us now with a preview. Hey, Hoda, good morning.
Good morning, Soledad, and it's one of the most remarkable transformations I have ever witnessed. When we first met 11-year-old Dane, there was no way to control him. He'd scream nonstop for hours, he'd break things. His parents even worried that one day he might even hurt them.
Go sit on the bed.
What did I do?
Imagine if you had a child who acted like this. Not once in a while, not some of the time, but almost all of the time, every day. How would you handle it?
What the crap?
Chances are, no matter what you're thinking, Debbie and Alan Jones have tried it. They are at the breaking point with their 11-year-old son, Dane. For 10 years, they've tried all kinds of doctors and treatments, but nothing has worked. And despite all the time and money the family had spent on therapy and medication, Dane was still edgy, obsessive, and volatile. It seemed anything could set Dane off, any little change in plans. His reactions became overreactions. If he cried, he wailed. The smallest hassle turned into a power struggle.
I'm stronger than you. I will not give up.
And this is where that remarkable turnaround comes. Just 92 days later, a bit more than 3 months, something amazing happened. Dane went from an out-of-control child to a calm, polite, loving one. Take a look. For the first time in 3 months, Dane is allowed to have a friend over. He and Joseph play games, ride bikes without a moment's trouble. His mom can't believe what she's seeing.
My child has been playing for over an hour. I know that seems crazy to be crying because your kid's playing, but he couldn't do this before.
It's simple as that.
Seems like a simple thing,
Not a simple thing.
but it was huge.
And what got me about that day was he has a smile on his face. He's happy.
Did you feel happy?
Yes, I feel happy. I have changed. I learned to show respect to others. I've been working hard on that.
Now, when these parents watch their son, once again, they see the child they fell in love with, the real Dane.
Love you too, Mom.
Give me some high
I
fives.
love you tons.
Love you too.
Give me some high fives, boy. Made some threes, didn't
Love
you?
you too, Dad.
Made some. I love you too. Make some.
So how did this happen? How could this child have turned around so quickly? Dane's parents met this doctor who was convinced that he could help Dane, but his methods are controversial. You'll have to see him run Dane through all the drills. The results are stunning, and Soledad, Dateline documented it every step of the way. We had a lot of video cameras in the house, and we just kind of documented it throughout the 92 days.
I want to ask you a couple quick questions.
Yeah.
We see, of course, in videotape, we only see a few
Right,
seconds,
right.
a minute maximum on that. Is what we saw of Dane playing with his friends, is that just sort of the positive snippet of his day, and there are other meltdowns during the day that we're sort of not showing?
He went through a lot of meltdowns up until the last month. This is the new Dane. I got to tell you, I was surprised about it, quite frankly. I expected this child to continue to have meltdown after meltdown. He went through, I think, an entire 4 weeks without a single meltdown. So they've seen a turnaround that's lasted until today.
I only have 10 seconds for this, but why would the parents allow cameras to be put in their home? I mean, what do they get out of it? They obviously are dealing with a stressful situation anyway.
They say that there are so many parents who are suffering like they are, that they were willing to put those cameras in so other people could learn a lesson. And I think by watching this hour tonight on Dateline, you'll see that lesson. They say it's worth it.
All right, Dateline NBC's Hoda Kotb. It looks fascinating. Thanks for joining us this
Soledad.
morning. And you can see more of Hoda's report on Dateline NBC. It's at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on NBC. And we'll be right back.
I
house can be rough. At Coldwell Banker, we can't do enough. At Coldwell Banker, we'll find you a home, help you make it your own, with agents that sure know their stuff.
Buying or selling, a Coldwell Banker agent is your perfect partner in real estate. And with our concierge service, we can get you all the help you need to turn your house into a home.
ColdwellBanker.com.
Log on.
These people aren't just sleeping. They're whitening their teeth a better way. With new Crest Night Effects. Crest Night Effects forms a liquid strip coating that stays on teeth all night, while most of that other paint-on whitener washes off. It's clinically proven to give you twice the whitening. Why waste the night just sleeping? Spend it creating a whiter smile. Crest Night Effects. Sleep your way to a whiter smile.
Wednesday at 8/7 Central on Fame. Find out who's going home and get another chance to vote for your favorite. Fame, NBC Wednesday, 8/7 Central. By Land Rover.
Do you wanna hang out in the daytime? City sounds all around. Do you wanna hang out in the nighttime? City signs in the line. How do you do? How do you do? Happy to meet you.
So the dealer says I can get a new Civic for $159 a month. You're kidding? Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, there had to be some sort of gimmick or something. So, you know, I wasn't born yesterday or anything. So I walked out. I showed him who's the man. But aren't we riding in a new Civic? Oh, yeah. I went back. There was no gimmick. Yeah, you really showed him, huh? You got that straight. Because, you know, I know a good deal when I see one. I mean, I'm all over.
Now you can get a 2003 Civic LX sedan for $159 a month for 48 months.
Before we wrap things up on this Sunday morning, let's first head down to Washington, D.C. and NBC's Tim Russert for a preview of Meet the Press this morning. Hey, Tim, good morning.
Good morning, Soledad. September 11th, 2001, our nation attacked. If it happened again, God forbid, are we prepared? This morning, a troubling report from the Council on Foreign Relations. Emergency responders drastically underfunded, dangerously unprepared. We'll talk to the task force chairman and project director. Then James Carville, Democrat, Mary Madeline, Republican, talk about Supreme Court nominees Hillary Clinton and the politics of Iraq in 2004 presidential election, all coming up on Meet the Press. And Soledad, it's been great working with you.
Tim, my pleasure. Thank you so much for that.
And Soledad, after 4 incredible years, it's your last day on a weekend today. Before we go, we have a special look back at some of the stories you've covered, the special moments you've had, and yes, even the corny outfits you've been willing to wear during our time here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. You got mail.
From NBC News.
I just think she's a terrific person. She's smart. She's a hard worker. She takes her job very seriously, but she doesn't take herself too seriously.
I'm not singing. I know you guys are recording desperately to get some videotape. You're breaking my heart. You're like a dream come true.
You know, I wish I had some deep, dark kind of, you know, the dark side of Soledad's story for you. But she comes across as as an incredibly genuine, incredibly good-hearted, warm, good-natured type of person.
Hi, Soledad. I wanted to leave you with one piece of advice. When it comes to dressing up, putting on wigs like you did for the 70s disco show, it's really, really cute. But I do think it impacts your credibility, so Soledad, don't do that at CNN. They won't find it amusing at all. And when it comes to our little shoe contest, you know, we'd compare shoes every morning to see who had the cooler shoes. I just thought I should point out that 9 times out of 10, I did win the contest. And as a final goodwill gesture, since I feel bad about that, I'm bequeathing you all of my shoes from 2002, since, Soledad, you tend to favor last year's models.
And she was indeed terrific. She was so terrific that I ended up arranging for her to get a job here at NBC. Then she went on for working for the local station in San Francisco.
This is News Center 4.
Mark, this is a California halibut.
Well, you know, Soledad and I go way back to the days of San Francisco. We worked together at KRON back in the good old days.
Welcome to the future.
You could tell that she wasn't going to be in San Francisco very long. And her next move was back to New York after that.
You'll be with us every Saturday and Sunday morning from now on.
It's very nice to be here.
The tiny island of Anguilla. Here in Havana, they're at Camp X-Ray. I'm sitting on the convention floor. What's fun? Wrap things up on a Sunday morning. Hey, girl.
Hang on, Soledad.
Come on.
Oh, my God, you scared
The dark side of Soledad. Soledad has a gambling problem. Soledad will bet on anything.
I bet you $5.
You'll say, Soledad, the sun's going to rise at 6:12 this morning. She'll say it's 6:14, man, and I'm sure of it. And $30 says I'm sure of it.
So what's our wager? We've been talking about wagering.
She bet me that David wouldn't be able to knock her into the dunk tank with the throws of the baseball. We bet her on that. She got into the dunk tank.
Oh, and into the tank she goes.
We had this bet on the dunk tank. I think we had $10 on this bet. We bet on everything. We have had 5 bets running at all times.
The funny thing about her gambling problem is, while she hasn't gone for help, obviously, she also doesn't pay off her bets, which is weird. She still owes me the $30 from the dunk tank. There's a versatility that's required for the job that Soledad does.
She's definitely the consummate professional.
Reverend Jackson, good morning. Nice to see you as always. Good morning to Mrs. Clinton. Congresswoman Ferraro, good morning to you. Nice to see you.
She's great at interviewing people.
Hans Blix's presentation to the UN, devastating. Some who have called you the first black president. You have your offices uptown in Harlem.
You have to be perfectly ready to walk into work each morning and have a story break on your air.
We have this breaking news to report for you this morning. Elian Gonzalez has now been removed. Let's break in once again. Jay Barbary is back for us. Jay, what can you tell us?
She's one of the few people I've ever met who never seems to let the pressures, the pace, or any of the negative sides of the business impact her in a negative way.
This is, we believe, a picture of the Columbia as it comes out of the sky. Good morning. Sad news today from the front lines of Iraq. NBC's David Bloom, a husband and father, adventurous spirit, and our colleague, died overnight. We'll remember his life today, Sunday, April 6th, 2003.
I went to work that morning for David and also for Soledad, because I knew how hard it would be for her to go on the air and to tell people what had happened to David without the support of her colleagues. And I thought she handled it beautifully.
Welcome to today. I'm Soledad O'Brien.
And I'm Matt Lauer. Katie Couric joining us from Washington, D.C. this morning.
I think one of the more difficult moments for me was when I first walked into our studio area here, where we have our rooms where we prep for the show, and the first person I walked into was Soledad.
He was a leader in his field. He died doing what he loved.
It's a weird thing because we hug, we say how sorry we are, and then we both had to turn and get ready for the show.
You and Dave, of course, had 3 great years at this desk.
Yeah, we did. We sure did.
I think all of us here are going to be really sorry to see her go, and Soledad, we'll miss you a lot.
I just want people to know how much fun you are to be with, and how much I've enjoyed the conversations we've had, and the little inside jokes that we've shared, and the jabs of the elbows, and I will miss you like crazy, but you're off to do something great, and I wish you all the best.
Good night. Good luck, girl.
I wish you the best of luck. All the best, Soledad, and stay in touch. Call me.
Oh, you know, I said I wouldn't cry. I said I wouldn't cry. Oh, my goodness. Wow, thank you. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to our audience for watching. And you see us here, but really there are 70 people who put the show on the air every weekend. So I said I wouldn't cry.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine.
And it's been just a tremendous 4 years. We work hard. We had fun times. We obviously had some difficult times as well, but it has been an honor and a pleasure to work with all of you behind the scenes as well. So thank you so much.
Got the girls?
The girls are over there, yes. I should say, hey, Soph, want to come out and see Mama? Come on, sweetie. Come on, come on. You know, when you grow up on a show and you have your family on a show, your family grows
They're
as...
part of the family.
Come on, Soph.
Yeah. Sweetie.
Come here. Come here. Oh, well, it's been a pleasure to have my family up.
Mama, we're going to cut some cake for
and
Mommy.
And the other one. To have my family. Come here, boo-boo. Come here. Yay. To be part of your family.
Excuse me, I want to get on here.
Usually we end the show by saying, have a great week, and I'll see you back here next weekend. I won't say that. I'll just say, have a great week, and God bless. Thank you.
We toast you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay!
This has been a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.
A powerful Dateline Sunday. The video you're watching.